So just bear with me.
Okay, she's going to do the intro and I'm going to introduce you.
It's being live streamed. So got it. Welcome everyone to High Vibes Up. It's April 5th, 2023, and we are co-hosting with Diane, and we have a special guest today, Dylan from the Mapping Project. Welcome. We're so excited for today's show. We have some really exciting stuff to share. So we want everybody to participate. We want everybody to kind of join us. This is what this platform is about. So we're so excited. Welcome. Let's get this show on the road.
Hey, everybody. So our special guest today is Dylan Monroe. He is the map maker. He is one of our new Templars, and he's, since we have to watch our words, we'll just call it the DS Mapping Project is where you can find him. Okay, meeting is recording. Okay, got it. So welcome, Dylan. I am so excited you're here.
Thanks so much for having me. I've met you guys briefly on ASEA calls before and HVU private meditation calls, but we're here to cover in for Candy while she's dealing with Kid in some rocky times, and hopefully can bring the same level of spiritual enlightenment that I was thinking before I came on, like, how am I going to come up with like the same level of like spiritual expressions as Kid, because he just seems to pop them off like just with no limit, but like we'll do our best. We're gonna do our best.
Yeah, he gets those little pop rocks of blah, 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 blah. You know, I'm like, man, how does he do that? I apologize for interrupting.
No.
So
I was gonna try to pull up the chat to try to monitor the chat while we're going here.
Yeah, I'm trying to too, and I'm not finding it yet. Here we go.
Do you see it?
I got it.
You just got to make sure you mute the YouTube or we'll be getting echo.
Yep. I think I have. So I'm going to do my best to watch the chat as anyone else can. So one of the things that a few things have come across our paths in the last few days. Firstly, I want to ask you, do we have you for a little while, or do you need to pop off and go on someone else's show?
I'm good. This is my third show in 24 hours though. So if my brain is fried, I apologize, but I'm, now that I'm here with you guys, I'm feeling pretty dialed in, so it should be okay.
Oh yeah. I had the Palo Santo going and everything. The crystals were out in the garden, charging in the sun. We were ready to rock this. So I think that Satnam came across something today that I find fascinating, that I think she would like to share. And it's something that was unearthed, and it's unlike anything that we've been taught. So I'm going to let you take the floor.
Thank you. So as I came into my daily awareness, this popped up. This was the first thing that kind of said, whoa, this is how you start your day. So it was quite interesting. And this is part of a posting that I came across this morning in my messages. And it leads back to 1892, the scrolls from 1892. And it's from an archaeological discovery. Based on the prayer that we normally use in our daily lives, and what the prayer actually sounded like in 1892, and how it's been changed over time, different versions, translations. And I think this is a good starting point, because we start our day with gratitude and appreciation. We align with our energies, focus, and anything we do, we usually either give grace for food, we thank our creator for everything that is, being received and appreciated, and different perspectives. So I wanted to share something that was really, really powerful. And I've kind of broken it down into different paragraphs. And if we could cover, let's say, each paragraph at a time and kind of have perspectives on it. I will speak very slowly because, my accent and pronunciations could be kind of taken out of context. Not necessarily, but it's just the accent could throw people off. Is that okay?
And is this the original Lord's Prayer?
This is the original, according to the findings, this is the original prayer that was like, Our Father who art in heaven. And it was translated over time from this original version that I have here that I came across this morning, which I find fascinating. And if I can give some paragraphs, and then we can talk about it, if that really kind of brings some resonance and other messages that we may pick up from each other, how we translate that and what it means to each other. Would that help?
Sure, we could do that.
Okay, so this one begins like, "O cosmic birther," birther meaning giving birth. My R's obviously are not as strong because I'm a Brit. So it's not the Bertha that you have.
It's not Bertha?
No, not Bertha, just Bertha. Like the creator. So, O cosmic Bertha of all radiance and vibration, soften the ground of our being and carve out the space within us where your presence can abide. And I think that resonates quite strongly because it's all about making space and recognizing our inner being. That's how I understand that.
And it sounds a whole lot different than, "O Father who art in heaven."
Very much.
Right? So continue.
Yeah. So next paragraph is, "Fill us with your creativity so that we may be empowered to bear fruit of your mission."
Oh, this is completely different. Creativity, empowered. We don't talk about that anymore, do we?
Right? Exactly.
And just to back up for 1 second, with the word cosmic, that word cosmic has become the hallmark of David Wilcock's work nowadays, with cosmic disclosure, cosmic this and that. And I mean, that means like galactic, essentially. And so that's very interesting. That was the first word of this whole thing, is kind of taking people into the stars as opposed to just taking you into like the rigid patriarchy.
Right.
Huge change.
Good call.
So with that, I just want to kind of say, so we are creators, and our creativity and how we are empowered to bear the fruits of our mission and the purpose that we come here for in any lifetime, in this lifetime, right? It's so clear in the wording. It's interesting how it jives and vibes with us. Would you agree?
I do.
Yeah. So the next paragraph goes like, just bear with me, please, while I just read my squiggles here. "Let each of our actions bear fruit in accordance with our desires."
Sounds like free will to me.
Yeah.
Sounds like manifestation.
Yep.
Yeah. And it continues, "Endow us with the wisdom to produce and share what each being needs to grow and flourish."
I love that.
Yeah.
Love it.
And the next one is really powerful too. And it says, "Untie the tangled threads of destiny that bind us as we release others from the entanglement of our past mistakes." Isn't that passive for forgiveness and release? And isn't that beautiful?
That is so powerful. It's like, I'm taking control. I get to create. I get to release. And I've been given the tool how to do it.
Yeah. It's amazing.
And releasing the past mistakes, not dwelling on them.
Yes.
I deal a lot with people in the AA program, which I feel like there may be benefits, but when you're always focusing on the worst and like the problem, I think it's better to just forget, or not completely forget, but just put it in the past, let that be a mistake that's acknowledged and moved past.
Exactly. I agree.
Yeah. And I'll continue if I may. There's a couple more paragraphs.
Almost done.
Yeah. So the next one is, do not let us be seduced by that which would divert us from our true purpose, but illuminate the opportunities of the present moment.
This was
Here
so
we
much
are.
better than the original.
Yeah.
Or the one now
Right.
that is the original.
Yeah, yeah. And I've got one more paragraph to it. Then we can obviously deep dive if we want to. For you are the ground and the fruitful vision, the birth, power, and fulfillment, as all is gathered and made whole once again.
Ta-da.
So it is. What do you make of that? What do you feel and what do you resonate with that? Because that was pretty powerful for me this morning in the findings that I came across.
Go ahead,
Well,
Dylan.
I was just going to say, it's so funny you decide to read something from the 1800s, because in two of my most recent videos, I read something from the 1800s and something from the 1700s. Wow. And you just immediately feel this more advanced sense of sophistication with everything they say, with the wording, with what they're actually saying, with the thought process behind it. And I mean, so much of what you just said actually sounds more like what I guess like new agey people are saying nowadays. We're kind of getting back to that. And it seems like at some point that late 1800s, I mean, we know the Act of 1871 was a big shift for America. And then 1913, the Federal Reserve, they shifted us down this really dark path. And while a lot of people who say make America great again are thinking about like the 1950s and like the prosperity that was present then, it's like even that was in a very degraded state of consciousness from where we were in the late 1800s and maybe where we were in the late 1700s as well.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
And they already started like the chemical rollouts and the dumbing down of people and just the decline of culture, essentially.
I completely concur with that. Yeah, and I watched those videos that you read, those older.
I'm in shock. My most recent ones, reading from the 1700s, has like almost 10,000 views, and I didn't think people would be able to get it or understand it, because I could barely understand it when I was reading it. But I think when you have it read to you, and I edited out all my flubs, that it's a lot easier to kind of process hearing it all in one stream. But yeah, I would love to get a type out of what you just read. Satnam,
I said the same thing.
Yeah, I'll send it to you.
Her and I went through it like 3 times, because the first time she read it, my mind was blown by the first sentence, and then she's reading more and I'm like, whoa, wait. Let's start over one more time. I mean, I need to digest. I thought it was awesome. And, so we've read it a couple of times. I have a hard copy here. So this is definitely going in my, going next to my nightstand. This is the first thing I'm going to do in the mornings.
Yeah, it's all about resonance and frequencies. And I think as we're shifting through so much energy-wise, I feel that I'm personally resonating back to going to back to simple things, because that's what our energy being is asking for. We are bombarded with all kinds of things. We're pulled in different directions. And it just seems like, okay, where do we align? What do we do? How do we balance? And what do we need in our daily intake of simplicity? And, what balances us? How much time can we give to each thing that allows us to bring us into the center again and level up into balance, into calmness, and just be rather than do, because circumstances are all around us. But being is the most important thing that we can be in the moment.
As long as you're not being in a panic attack.
Yeah.
Or being in fear.
Mm-hmm.
No, fear is a killer, man. It's a killer.
It is.
I'm seeing in the comments here that everybody would love to have a printout of that.
I'd be happy to kind of share it with Kid and Candies. It's in the link. We'll put it in the link tree. So if and when after the show, I'll have that kind of ready in a presentable manner. that people can definitely go to the link tree and get it from there.
And real quickly, I know everybody's asking how Kid is doing. He's doing very well. His treatments are going very, very well. And all the donations are, we have so much gratitude and gratefulness for all the donations for his treatment because they are not covered by insurance. So thank you all so very much with that. He's got a very happy outlook and he's been up and moving around. So that's a big deal. And he reached out to me yesterday. So that was really nice. And he's feeling much, much better. So everybody keep that vibe really high because our kid needs us just as much as we need him.
And I just want to add.
Sure.
Sorry, if I may. It's our HVU family that really makes this show. And it's their love and support that allows this continuation, allows this growth, because it's the messages that we all need during these trying times, the support that we need. And it's definitely something that allowed me to be in this loving space. I didn't know anything about HVU until last August. And when I came across that in my YouTube feed, it changed my life. It allowed me to connect to the higher vibrations and frequencies. And it also allowed me to heal myself through discovering ASEA, right? So that was just an added bonus. But just being part of this platform, loving and supporting each other has given me so much hope.
Can real quick, Dylan, I've got a list of questions for you. But real quick, Satnam, could you give us just a real quick, for instance, I mean,
Sure.
Your health was in decline, correct?
100%. It was, I thought I was finished last year. That's how chronic I was. I was in pain, no movement, no energy, none of that. So spiritually, physically, mentally, I was kind of completely in a dark space. But having grabbed this lifeline, I call it a lifeline because it's given me this life back to be able to hear, to appreciate, to share, because it's about reaching out and sharing and allowing others to kind of say, hey, we want to serve everybody. How can we serve? How can we reach out? What can we do? It's about that service again that we go back to, right? So I feel grateful and I want to give back. And this is where I come from, is giving back, is being in service. And I'm so grateful to HVU, sorry. So thank you for this.
That's one of the reasons why we're doing this for Kid and Candy, because this is a lifeline for so many people, and they've gotten that exact message over the years. And so we're doing our best. And Dylan, thank you for helping us with this. We so appreciate your time. And I know you're tired. I'm so sorry. I'm getting ready to pick your brain.
I'm not too tired. I'm feeling good too. And I haven't necessarily been using ASEA to heal from a sick state, but I've been using it to get to the next level. I've got mine right here. You know how we do. And I've been working out more. I've been hitting, higher weights with my calisthenic workouts, like adding weights to my body weight. And I've never been this strong. And I've been starting taking this Vini zeolite recently too, which Kid's going to get this in the mail today from me, a free sample. You got to shake this up. That's why I'm always shaking it. But this is like a zeolite that pulls heavy metals. And from like a private call I had with them last week, it does a lot of other things that you wouldn't expect. Like it's not just pulling heavy metals. It's a lot like ASEA where there's all these unexpected benefits as well. And so I've been kind of like tapering down on ASEA, but also like doing a little more of this. And like, I just like both these products, and it's kind of like, I don't want to like overdo both of them at the same time. And then this one too, I keep hearing about.
Love it.
But since I've been tapering down on the ASEA a little bit, I'm actually feeling like less recovery from these workouts. And I'm like, well, I don't know if I can maintain like as intensive these workouts and always, adding on more and more while tapering down the ASEA, because it really is kind of partially what has allowed me to recover quicker to get these workouts in closer together. And so it's really an amazing product and life-changing, I would even say. The elixir of the gods, as Jay and April would say.
Yeah, it is the elixir of the gods. And the Numi is the elixir of the god goddess. You want to recover even faster. Those two together are a powerhouse. The Numi and the Asea are insane. Now, I don't know if any of you have noticed, but over the past few months, when I've done some of the shows with Kid and Candy, my hair is getting darker. And I will attribute that to the Numi. And because as soon as I started taking it, I'm like, is my hair getting darker? Because my hair was literally white. I mean, like your hat. Not kidding. And I had my hair pink at one point because my hair was so white, it would be pink instead of lavender putting pink on, right? My hair was pink when I met Kid and Candy for the first time in Las Vegas. And if I put pink on my hair now, it would look kind of lavender. It's kind of, it's interesting. And it's amazing for the skin and muscle recovery or aches and pains, all that kind of stuff. And it works pretty darn fast. I have a friend that's a contractor, and he's gotten a little broken over the years. He and I think, are about the same age. Maybe he's a year younger than I am. And he was hardly able to walk. And I gave him a sample bottle of the Numi, and he starts texting me every day saying, I'm feeling good. I'm still feeling good. Pain is really low. Pain is really low. I'm moving. And I'm like, that's awesome. How fun is that? There's nothing like having pain and having it just be gone.
Yeah, that I can attest to for sure. And I know Dylan just mentioned about it changes your frequency. The ASEA has changed my frequency. Yes, I feel my cells are vibrating at a higher level. And I'm not sure, Dylan, if that's what you're referring to, but I certainly feel a change in my frequency for sure on a higher level.
Yeah, I definitely felt that at one point. You do develop a little bit of a tolerance with the ASEA, which is why I think it's good to sometimes cycle things, and just so you realize how you would feel off of it, and then how you probably most likely feel better back on it.
Yeah, I agree completely. So, Dylan, can I start, drilling in your brain?
Go right ahead. Yeah.
So, I have notes here. I'm sorry. I have, I ordered the energy poster. I haven't received that one yet, but I will, I know. I received the palm stones just today, and these things are so gorgeous. And if any of you are wondering why number 9, number 10, and number 3 are missing, I got them. Look at this.
Skolosite is what that is.
It's called skolosite. And it's one of those stones that when it sits there, it's got, dozens or hundreds of little teeny stones going up, and crystals. And I would imagine they're fairly fragile and they get broken.
Oh, yeah.
And so
I have one natural specimen, and I'm so paranoid. I mean, you can't even wash it or barely even move it without breaking anything. I don't know how vendors even get them into expos, because it's like the most delicate thing you can imagine. But so many crystals emerging from one single point that it's got to be one of the highest vibrational crystals out there. And it's a zeolite as well.
And it's from the zeolite family? Yes. So what I said earlier is the zeolite will clean all the trash up on the outsides, and so then this will clean up all the trash spiritually.
Do I have screen share abilities?
We can definitely
just don't know.
Let's see. Yeah.
So I would love to show people. It's really hard to understand how powerful that palm stone is without seeing where it came from.
So let me just give you.
Okay, it looks like I have the ability. Here we go. Just going to show this one image. Okay. So that is a skolosite before they polish it into a palm stone.
Wow.
So yes, all those. I mean, like Diane said, hundreds of crystals, all emerging from like a single point. And then, I mean, it does seem a little maybe sad and wasteful that they polish all that down into a stone, but that's how powerful those are. And, I think you go into a cave and you see like little sea urchins like that all over the place. And so they're not really in short supply for crystal miners, but they're very powerful stones. And those ones are from India, one of the main places you can get zeolites and skolosite.
Do you actually sell these, Dylan?
So I began selling crystals in my store. Like my store is mostly my own artwork, but I had been wanting for actually several years to integrate crystals into my online store. And I started doing it last year with basically my own personal like spillover crystals, having bought too many myself and filled in too many gun cases full of crystals. I started selling the ones that I felt like had served me, and I was ready to pass them on to the next caretaker. But that evolved into continuing going to these crystal expos. And most recently, I went to Tucson, which is the big one, the biggest one in the world. And just that was such an amazing experience because there is vendors from literally every country in the world there. Awesome. And it's even a little bit intimidating because, when I'm around foreigners, it's just the language barrier and, being uncertain about certain customs. It's like, it can be a little intimidating at first, but obviously everyone is there to, trade and be friendly, some more friendly than others, but it's just a really cool experience. And so I went to Tucson. That was my third time going there, my first time going with, wholesale and bulk purchasing in mind. And so I got my crystal store got quite a big upgrade, which, we've sold some of them, but we still have quite a few in the store. And I'm planning to go to even more crystal expos in the near future here. So it's both an unhealthy obsession that I have turned into a business, which is, I think, what people should be doing. That's a good way to find your passion in life and then turn it into your occupation, is what I've done with my artworks as well. And so then there's no there's no guilt in over shopping at the crystal show because you know that you are going to be, paying it forward to the next person who needs to find these things. And, a lot of people don't really know where to find them or don't know how to go to crystal shows, or maybe they're in a place where they don't have crystal shows. Like actually, we just had our biggest crystal order ever, all shipping to Hawaii, which I'm assuming, maybe she doesn't have access to shows like this. So online is the only place that she can find things like this. And so that was really cool. Thanks to whoever that was in Hawaii. It's a big batch of DSMP crystals going out there. But yeah, it's been a really fun experience to just, get into different categories of products and different categories of business, kind of like getting into the ASEA and stuff too. It's just the more like versatile we are, or I would say like, spread out both our assets and our businesses. So, it's not all pulled in one place. So many people are just used to like working for one company for like 30 years and just being completely dependent on it. So dependent that you would accept one of these just to keep the status quo of your life. When, if you just really pursued your passions and turn your passions into a business, it's really not that difficult. I originally set up my business in 2015 through LegalZoom, which was not that difficult. The most difficult thing about running my entire business has been taxes and shipping. And taxes, you can basically ignore at this point because the IRS is just completely disorganized. I mean, you probably know a little bit about it, and then shipping is still an issue, but we've actually had some significant breakthroughs just recently, getting better international shipping prices. So those are the two main challenges. Other than that, I mean, it's pretty simple to just run your own business and turn it into like an LLC or whatever it is, so that you're doing it like officially. It's not like under the table. You're doing it correctly within the American legal system. So I encourage everyone to do that. I mean, we are really, I've been saying since 2020, it's time to look at who you're working for and make sure it's not the bad guys, because there's way too many people out there that are working for the bad guys and just kind of being like, well, I'm just a low level peon, so it doesn't really affect anything. But we found out in 2021 why it does affect a lot of things.
We are all gods and goddesses, baby. I want to answer a quick question that's on the feed here, and it is Tennessee Granny. Tennessee Granny, I know of two people that have used the Numi for COPD and specifically, I believe it was triple pneumonia. Ethan Lucas has spoken about this before, and Lewis Herms also, some type of lung infection that was going on for months and months. And within weeks, this helped big time. And I hear from others that I don't know personally that it does help a lot with COPD. I do apologize. So I just wanted to make sure I answered that question. It had been asked several times, so I could answer everyone on that.
Thank you for
So,
that.
And Christine Hagerin says, when you put that crystal on the screen, my finger closer to the phone, it started having a tingling. As soon as you took it off, it stopped. That's crazy that the crystal energy transferred through the YouTube live, because that's exactly the feeling that crystals give you when you're sensitive to it. It's like a tingling, and sometimes it's like a coolness, like almost like you feel like an AC blowing on you, where the most powerful energy of the crystal is focused.
My hair on the back of my head is kind of standing up. So this is another one that I got. And I'm looking on the camera, and it's not even as gorgeous as it actually is in my palm, because you could see each one of these little points where these crystals have come out of it. It's stunning.
And some of the scolecite palm stones, if you hold up a bright light behind it, like if you put your phone behind it, you might be able to see more of the details on the interior.
Oh my gosh, you're just messing with me now.
Beautiful. And these are all the same stones, right? Just different sizes?
See,
just different specimens, yeah.
Is that, gosh, I want to be able to.
The funnest thing about going to Tucson is that, I could go to all these different vendors, and when I saw something I liked, I would take all their best specimens, because when you have the whole tray of specimens, usually a lot of them are kind of like, the duds. But when you go in and just like take the best ones and put those in your store, like your store ends up looking, pretty refined.
Yeah, and they feel incredible too, by the way. They kind of, I don't want to say they have the feeling of soap or soapstone, but they have that really nice, smooth finish, but you could still feel the little ridges. These are really yummy. This is the one I held up the first time.
So are these polished? Is that the polished end product? That's what it looks like?
Mm-hmm.
They're stunning. And so what are these basically for? What is the pull that you got from the stones?
I personally use them to sleep with, because it's the kind of like the stone of peace is what people say about scolecite, and so it may give you peaceful sleep. There have been some nights when it failed me, but I think in general, I still like to use it for peaceful sleep. And the one that I use, which I bought several years ago, I had dropped it at one point, and so it is broken in half and glued back together. And I bought those new ones thinking I'll replace it, but I feel so attached to my original one. I still sleep with the one that's been broken in half and glued back together anyway. Maybe that's my problem, why it's not working anymore.
Uh-oh.
So broken crystals do.
But I did take one from the new batch for myself, so I still have to explore that one eventually.
Exactly.
Okay. So if there's a damaged crystal, Dylan, does that affect how it vibrates and how it kind of affects your environment?
It definitely has some effect if you have a broken crystal. I've had some where it's just a tiny little chip on the tip of it, and it bothers me so much that I, give it away or sell it. Others, like the scolecite I just mentioned, it's completely broken in half and glued back together, and I still love it anyways. So you just have to go with your own senses. Mm-hmm. Some people say, like, if it breaks, it was meant to leave you. But I say just feel out each individual situation, how you feel about it. I'm very much a perfectionist in a lot of ways, and so anything that has a chip on the tip, it bothers me.
I had a friend that had a labradorite pendulum, and she said, she was always very careful with it, always, hung on to it really well, and it fell and hit the tile, and the tip came off. And she said it works now better than ever. She goes, I think it released the energy, so it wasn't like sealed into that point, so it was able to. And I'm like, wow, that's interesting. I never even occurred to me. So, she said it worked better than ever, and it was better broken than it was, in perfection form.
Well, that's interesting, because my pendulum has a chip that's kind of come off the tip of it. So I wonder, if I was going to ask the question, should I get rid of it? Should I hold on to it? Should I feel the energy of it and see if it still works? So I'll try it and see what it says, how it speaks.
So in this book that I have, it says this mineral has been used in the treatment of intestinal disorders, spinal disalignment, and to expel parasites from the body. It's also been used for the remediation of disorders related to the eyes, the cortex, and the lungs.
Interesting.
And
Right.
none of that's internally. That's for external use only, I think.
Yeah. You sleep on it. You don't. This would be an awfully big pill to take. Yeah,
Yeah, no.
you don't want to do that.
Don't eat that zeolite.
No.
Right. Yeah, do the zeolite. I'm seriously, I love zeolite. And when you were talking about that, just a quick note. I used to run a health food store for years, and I tried, every glutathione, never felt a thing. I tried melatonin, keep me awake at night. And the zeolites, I never really felt or noticed anything. So, and I'm hearing that a lot of people are actually feeling and noticing differences taking the zeolite that you were talking about.
Yeah, it's all about the quality of whatever it is, the product or the supplement, as opposed to just what it is. Like I was, even with the crystals, like I was saying, you got to get the best specimen from the tray, not the dud specimen. And it's the same with zeolite's internal use. And well, there's really nothing comparable to ASEA on the market, except
Nothing.
I don't know, Gatorade.
No. Oh, good Lord, no.
Yeah, you don't want that as like
No.
your self-signaling supplement.
So I see that our Maria is on our chat real quick. Hi, Maria. She wants to know, Dylan, does copper help in the pendulum?
I do have a pendulum made of copper. Actually, I am friends with a woman that runs a angel mist business called Crystalline Essences, and she's the pendulum master. She does booths at expos, and just every customer that comes in, she has a pendulum that tells her which mists they need, and she's just always into pendulums. And I visited her in Cornville, Arizona, and she gave me one of her favorite pendulums, which she has a lot of duplicates of, which is like a copper spiral.
Oh, yeah.
And so I do have a copper pendulum, and from the pendulum expert, she says that's her favorite one. So yes, copper does help in the pendulum, and also know a lot of myself and a lot of friends of mine have had these copper massage wands, which is like, kind of like that shape massage wand. Those are great too for massage and for healing, because the copper itself is healing, as well as using it for massage, gets deep into the tissue.
Pressure points.
Yeah, copper is healing in a lot of ways. Even people that wear copper bracelets, they say that's healing, even though it might turn your wrist green.
It certainly does. And I'm super happy that my hair's not turning green or blue or anything. So it's just kind of getting brown again. It's kind of fun. So do you want to add anything else regarding those stones at all, or anything else that you might want to talk about on your website?
I'll just say, we do still have a lot of stones listed. Some of the really good ones from Tucson, all the good ones are not picked out yet. We have the biggest quartz frog that I've ever seen listed still, and an amazing flower agate fish. I went for the spirit guide sculptures. I'm very into animal spirits in general. Some of my main animal spirit guides are dolphins, rabbits, mantises. There are many others. I go through phases in life. But I somehow think like everyone shares the same spirit guides as me, which they don't always, but some of these spirit guides are more common than others. One of my more esoteric ones is the beluga whale, which has been coming through really strong in the past 6 months, but I don't think hardly anyone else understands that energy.
I saw that in there. You're that disc that you have.
The disc, yeah, we have not sold one of those.
So let me tell you, I'm going to need to get me one of those. So I was in Atlanta, Georgia, in the aquarium in Atlanta, Georgia years ago. And, there's all these people walking by, and I just got stuck at the beluga whales. And there was one that literally came up and looked at me in my eye, looked into my eye. I mean, it was like inches from the glass. and I walked over and she followed me. I think it was a mom and 2 daughters or something like that, followed me. And they're it's the only whale that has an articulating neck that can move.
Oh,
Yeah, they're the only one that, otherwise, they're just doing this. They can actually turn their neck. So this whale was watching me. I was being watched by a whale.
that was in
As
the
I watched
Atlanta
the whale
aquarium, you
watch.
said?
Yes.
Wow. Yeah. I hate to see them in captivity, but unfortunately,
too.
that's the only way a lot of people are going to see them
I
because they're
know.
Arctic creatures.
They had a very calming, loving, they were super aware of the energies in the room. And there were tons of people around me. And what was fascinating is when I looked around, when I realized, I'm like, it literally took my breath away. And I'm like, oh my God, is anybody seeing this? There was no one, everybody left. There was no one around there but me. I mean, there was like 15, 20 people all up, tapping on the glass, doing stupid stuff, and it was like, oh my God, this whale is this looking at me? And then I turned around and like everybody left. It was like they went, okay, everybody out. We're going to have a minute with this girl. And I got to have a minute with them. And it was fascinating. The sister and the mom were looking at me, but they were a little bit further away. But that one came right up to the glass. And it was like, wow. I mean, maybe they do it with
That's so
everybody.
cool.
I have no idea, but it was awesome.
No, I think they were attracted to your energy because I think that they are psychic in a way. And I think a lot of people don't know that dolphins actually have bigger brains than humans.
Yep.
And with all the noises they make, the echolocation that all different types of cetaceans use, which is whales and dolphins, some people say, in the new agey people say that they are the vibrational stewards of the earth. And that through all those vibrations, they're like maintaining, the Schumann resonance and, a peaceful vibration on Earth.
They very well could be.
Mm.
I'm sorry, Satnam, go ahead.
Okay. I had a question regarding the frequency and the Schumann resonance. There was some message shared. There are waves and waves of images coming through on the Schumann resonance charts. Have you seen that, Dylan?
Yes. Yeah, I try to pay attention to those. And there has been some very unusual patterns forming, like bands, further down. Usually it's just kind of energy emanating from the top down, but there's been all types of strange bands, horizontal, vertical, images that seem to be coming through at times.
Did you see the one that looked like it was almost making the pattern of the DNA? That was fascinating. Was that you or Candy that shared that with us?
That was Candy.
That was Candy.
Yeah.
And it was fascinating. I don't know if she remembered where she found it. I certainly don't remember if she told me, but she did send me the picture. And it was fascinating.
Yeah. So
go ahead.
Just talking about just talking about how the Schumann resonance and the vibrations of whether it's the sea mammals and the collective coming together from all levels, all aspects, whether it's the water, whether it's the sea, whether it's the animal spirits like you speak about. How is that really allowing the frequency of the planet and the frequency within us too, because we have water within our bodies too, and that frequency, how does it vibe, jive, and shift? The resonance, I feel, is shaking us up quite a bit to release a lot of the stuff that we're holding on to. And how do we shift that out of our vibration, out of our physical bodies? Because the memory of the water around us and within us holds that pretty strongly. Any insights on that, Dylan?
Well, definitely just hitting it with different frequencies and, peaceful ones, high ones, low ones, just not those aggressive ones. It's like someone said earlier in the chat, fear causes cancer, as does anger, I believe, causes cancer. And so it's never helping you to lose your own temper. It will be beneficial to you personally to stay calm, stay zen. And thinking about all those different sea mammals making those noises in the water, that programs the water with those healing frequencies. And it's kind of what you need to do in your body as well. And, as great as some of these supplemental products are, there's also different frequency products that we can use. I personally have what's called Violet Ray, which is, they sell them on Amazon now as like a skincare product, but this is like a 100-year-old technology that was introduced by Nikola Tesla and others such as Royal Rife. And there's a lot of different plasma frequency tools that can help you heal. A lot of different, I'm just so many different stories about different healing, frequency healing machines and stuff, but just to be aware of them. And the most recent one I've been hearing a lot about is the Beamer, the PEMF mat, that is one of the most advanced pulsed electromagnetic frequency proto med beds that's actually on the market already. I mean, it is $5K if you want one, but it's like, when it's your health and you're considering that, or paying potentially hundreds if not hundreds of thousands, or thousands if not hundreds of thousands for, I'm not sure, let's just say the chemo, right? Is what the general mainstream Western medicine recommends for all those problems, even if you don't necessarily have the big C problem. Like, they sometimes even prescribe that preemptively. We have a family friend that's on like long-term chemo for arthritis, and it's just like, this is craziness, like, you're not even considering the side effects here.
No.
And so yeah, frequency is very important.
I completely agree with that. So I would like to have you talk a little bit about your energy poster.
Energy map.
Your energy map, sorry, energy map. And Maria, you can find them on Rumble at the New Templars and DSMP, correct?
Well, let's put if we're not going to use the DS word on YouTube, let's put my high page link in the description, and that'll have links to everything of mine.
Okay, we'll make sure you get it.
Yeah, we'll put it in the whole link after the show.
Well, so
I'm super excited about the energy map. Yes.
Well, so we originally had it as a lamination. We have bigger sizes as well, of course. We don't sell this one anymore, but now the main one that we offer, if you want just the basic, is this fold out, which is a 16 by 16.
I think that's what I might have gotten, so I could read it.
Yeah, and so this one was created in 2019. Which to me was like, 2019 was almost the beginning of the golden age. Like, I was really feeling like we were right on the cusp of having some advanced energy technologies disclosed in the public, and potentially like a military demonstration of an anti-gravity craft. Then everything got derailed in 2020. But the idea of this one was to create a catalog of all different types of energies and energy technologies. So this is the energies themselves, as well as the technologies developed by intelligent life that utilize these energies to change them and use them for various, mechanical purposes. And this was created not just from the perspective of our civilization on Earth, but from the perspective of all life in the universe. And so this takes into account, the development from, pure nature to humankind or intelligent life, into different types of energy, and then taking into account interaction with other extraterrestrial races, potentially taking into account planetary cataclysms as well, which cause a reset in energy technology. Which then what has happened on our planet is we've gone from more advanced types of energy, such as magnetic and pyramidal type energy, as well as radio and electromagnetic energy. And then after this reset is when these people have taken over, utilizing more like the coal, liquid natural gas, and letting us use some renewable energies like water, hydroelectric, geological, but for the most part, keeping us stuck in these limited energy resources, or these dirty energies. Because some people say oil is not even limited, that it actually regenerates in the earth, and that this has all been a scam to convince us that it is limited so that they can bill us more than they should for it.
So would you agree that we've devolved rather than evolved?
I think some things have evolved. Like I don't believe that they had as advanced microchip technology back, 100 or so years ago, but I do believe they had more cost efficient types of electricity, that maybe even wireless electricity, developed in some countries. Like specifically, people talk about Tartaria, which is the country that's been essentially erased from the historical record, which was where Russia was, and even extended over almost a lot of Asia at one point. And so they apparently had some technologies there that aren't talked about now. And also with all the cathedrals that were built throughout the Middle Ages and Renaissance in Europe, were utilizing more advanced forms of energy. What is referenced on the energy map is called antiquitech. All those stone spires and pipe organs, and even the stained glass windows, which some people say that those stained glass windows were originally open, did not have glass in them, and that those were some kind of like energy frequency modulators for the entire city. So yeah, in some ways we have regressed, the fact that they don't use these things as they were intended to be used anymore. Some people say that those cathedrals were essentially like the power station of the city, and maybe not even just like electrical power, but spiritual power.
Right. Years ago when my grandfather was still alive, they're from Oklahoma. My people are all from Oklahoma. And, so my grandfather was telling this story about this old boy, which means an old man. He had electricity in his house, and he harnessed the electricity, and I'm using the word harness. He gathered, from what I was told, he had this little metal rod that he hung outside his window, and it was hooked up to the house, and the energies went through this metal rod, and he was like, it was, like 1.5 feet long, something like that. And that's how he powered his home. And I said, so why don't we have that today? And, my grandpa, he didn't have an answer. And I'm like, how did it work? I'm like, let's, how did he make it work? And he didn't know. He was just a little kid, but that's how he powered his house. Is in the mornings, he would drop this thing outside of his window. And, like the old days, at nighttime, you blew out all the candles, and then you close the house down. Right. And so he would pull this in at night and close the house down and put it back out in the morning.
I've heard stories similar to that. I've heard stories of people that erect essentially like high poles around their property with a wire between them, and then have noticed that there's actually like a current coming off of that wire just from having a wire hung high in the air. And so then, you start wondering if all these wires we see hanging up, across all these telephone poles, if they're really getting all their power from the power station, or if there's actually, energy coming into them from just the atmospheric energy surrounding the actual wires itself. And I think when we actually understand, how what you were talking about actually works, and when there's disclosure and not just robber barons trying to profit off all this energy technology, we're going to be like, oh my God, it was so simple. You know what I mean? Like they had probably this in the 1800s, and it's not that complicated, but it just takes some experimentation. And then, if you try to patent it and bring it to market, you may be likely, at least in the past, to get yourself murdered by so-and-so. I think the tide is shifting though. And one thing I do want to mention is that, there's certain states that seem to be leading this alliance of the new Earth coming through, right? Utah is producing ASEA and NutraSwish. ASEA is coming from Florida. And
no, what's that called again?
Avini, pardon me. Yeah. And then I was thinking, Texas is the other big one that seems to be a forerunner in leading this new republic that's forming. And I'm not sure if they're going to put out a body product, but I know that in Texas, they have a Tesla tower that is built in a town called Milford, south of Dallas. And so Texas might be the first one to roll out the new energy technology. And so, these states where the blockade on advancements for humanity in both the medical field and the energy industry have been lifted. And so we're seeing, entrepreneurs being able to bring certain things to market that weren't able to be brought to market before. that are going to be revolutionary.
I am super excited about all of that. So real quick, taking in consideration that we're on YouTube, any quick snippets regarding the 45th statement last night?
Well, I actually put out a whole video on that I made last night. When there's something big that happens, I'm like, I got to report on this tonight. And I'm essentially, to summarize it, I am perfectly calm about this.
Yeah.
It really feels like this is part of the plan that we have been warned about for a long time.
Yep.
And while, of course, in his speech, he's still, making this into like theatrics of, crisis, he wouldn't be essentially staging a rally about what happened if this was not part of the plan. I think the press conference would have seemed a little more disheveled and chaotic if this was not all, very much calculated. And, while I don't like to be like diminishing it or saying, he doesn't need our help or support, because he definitely does want donations.
Yeah.
But I think that a lot of these theatrics are for awakening the people who are, slow on this awakening process, and just exposing the corruption of the DS and the legal system itself and how it's been weaponized, and just giving him more to campaign on, essentially. I mean, he's going to use all this as ammunition for these rallies coming up. I mean, he's going to drill this home to no end, to use everything that's going on in the legal system targeted at him as a demonstration of, why he is fighting for us.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm feeling very good about it, even though, a lot of people are saying, well, why can't the good guys just move in and get this all done quicker? Like, why do we have to watch our hero, go through all this hell? And to me, it really brought to mind something from the Bible, which is the stations of the cross. And it seems like Trump is going to go through the legal stations of the cross, but we do not want to see him crucified at the end of this. And I don't think he will be, but maybe that could be like the ultimate sacrifice. Maybe then he comes back from the dead. Like, I don't know. We've got to see how this plays out.
Oh my God. Yeah. Okay. So I'm just compelled by everything to ask you this question, what your thoughts are on this, and you as well, Satnam. The amazing, crazy sounds that are coming from either the ground or the air. Australia just put out a video not 5 days ago, these campers with the big hummy weird noise. And then there was another one just put out from Seville, Spain, rather recently. Yeah. And they're definitely different sounds, then I did a deep dive last night. I was up till 2 a.m, listen to this one. It sounded like a lion roaring in the background. And these people are like, what in the hell is that? So Candy asked me what I thought of it, and so we're doing this for you, sister. And she was saying, somebody said that CERN or something like that might have been turned back on, and is it that? And and I kind of got a little bit of a download. Well, I did. And I was getting, if it was that being turned back on, it might be the ground or the energies from above and below righting itself. So what are your thoughts?
I'll let Satnam go first.
This is interesting. What do I feel? I feel that there is so much more going on than meets the eye. And yes, those sounds are definitely mysterious. They are definitely being observed by many people globally. What do I feel about them? What I feel, the part of the bigger plan is whatever is going on with DS and what is going on with the WH, the white hats, or the good guys, as you want to call them. I think there's a bigger plan. Is this part of the awakening? Is this part of something that's coming forward to alert people, okay, we may be going through a huge shift. You know, there are many people talking about the solar flashes. There are many people talking about the sounds that are coming through the ground, through the skies, the flashes of light of different colors coming through in different areas of the world. So I think in collaboration of so much going on all around us, is this part of the sight, the hearing, all our senses being put on alert? This is the awareness of consciousness to the next level, I feel. That it's not just about, oh, we saw this flash of light or we hear this sound. I think it's the collaboration of Mother Earth as well, saying to us, there's something coming and we're all waking up. And I think Mother Earth is also waking up too. So the sights of all these colors and the frequencies that we're feeling, the energies, the intensities that we feel, each day we feel, you know, there's waves and waves of energies coming to upgrade our systems, to upgrade the planet systems. So part of that, whatever is opening up, whether it's in the skies or whether it's in the ground, whether it's a visual or a sound, I think it's all to elevate us, is to raise the frequencies together. This is what I feel. But again, what do you feel, Diane? What do you feel, Dylan? Where do you sit with that? How does it resonate?
Go for it, Dylan.
So I've seen the video from Australia. I have not seen the one from Spain. And it was so funny when he's like, just listening to the sound, he's like, that sounds like aliens. You know, it's like, what do aliens sound like? I guess it sounds like that. The sounds, they definitely did sound otherworldly. And it reminded me some of the singing bowl sound baths that I've been to recently. And I've been to several of them. And when I go to those singing bowl sound baths, it actually reminds me of UFOs. Like I at one that I went to at the Integratron, which is a very powerful and important place for UFOs in general. I was having like visions of UFOs the whole time I was hearing the singing bowls. Mm-hmm. And so there's definitely something, you know, there's a connection between those type of sounds and I would say like anti-gravity craft. But of course, you know, these are, if there are invisible craft in the sky, say, causing these sounds, they have the technology to be completely invisible if they want, or appear as a cloud, or make a big sound. And so this is all up to them. And I think that essentially, if I had to put a guess on this, I would say these are more advanced beings prepping the people on the ground for more and more levels of disclosure of themselves, and, you know, prepping people consciously for accepting, you know, that ET life may exist. And, you know, it is so much funny. We were talking about whale noises before, and now we're hearing, you know, kind of similar, somewhat similar frequency type noises coming from the skies, from invisible things. And, you know, it's maybe part of kind of like the same agenda of attuning the harmonics of the planet to a more benevolent frequency. And I know Australia needs a lot of work. I mean, a lot of countries do, but you know, you got to wonder, like, if only like 5 people out in the country hear this, like, is that really worth the ET's time to, you know, show these people that they may exist or may not exist? They basically just leave them confused. But you know, the higher dimensional beings work in mysterious ways sometimes, and, you know, one little appearance or revelation can have a ripple effect. And obviously that was recorded and spread all over the world. And so it's not just those two or three people. You know, they may have known that demonstration would have been broadcast across the whole internet. And so, yeah, I think that the Pleiadians are working on this planet.
Yeah, I agree.
You mentioned a couple of things there, if I may. You mentioned the Integratron. Years ago, my mom and I went there for a sound bath, and my parents have a house about 5 miles from there. And you're gonna have to come visit. So basically, that is a trippy place. I wish that building had been complete. I don't recall the whole story. Did he die or something happened before he finished, before the thing started to spin? And Or did he ever get it running?
He
I don't
was murdered
know.
by the FBI, from
That's
what I
right.
heard.
Perfect.
George Van
Yeah.
Tassel.
Check. Yeah, that's a bummer. And what you also said that was fascinating to me is I have a set of crystal bowls that are supposed to be attuned to the 432 hertz, something like that. Yeah. So when I speak, there's like 4 or 5 bowls that always resonate. Woo, 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 you know, when I'm talking, they just talk back to me constantly. And oddly enough, they never do that when my husband's snoring. So I don't know what the problem is. But when that sound is happening, I know Satnam's like, oh dear God, she's going there. When that sound is happening, whether it's in the air or out of the ground or wherever it's, kind of, is it coming from the ground and meeting the surface and the air? Is that where the energy's coming? I don't know, but it does have that circular kind of sound, if that makes any sense at all. Just like the bowls, when you're going around the bowls, they have that ooh, ooh, and they just kind of have a circular sound to them to me.
I think that sound does have something to do with like the engine of a disc craft. And, I think they can tailor it to be silent if they need to, but there is like an inherent sound to, anti-gravity craft being activated. And I think that sounds a bit like that, maybe depending on the frequency of the craft as well.
So do you think that's coming from within the planet, within the Earth, or is it from the skies?
I would say I think it's coming from the skies.
Okay.
in this instance.
Mm.
Yeah, I recall listening and watching this video from some dude that was freaked out in Arizona. I think it was either Scottsdale or Phoenix, somewhere in that general vicinity. And it could have been, is it Cold Creek or something like that? He kept saying it's coming from those mountains, and it sounded like some kind of rusty corkscrew going through rock, and it was insane. I don't know if the video is still up. If anybody can find that, that would be awesome. It was probably, 5-7 years ago somewhere, and it was the sounds coming from somewhere in the Arizona Phoenix area. Now, that was probably one of the better videos I've ever heard, because you can hear this thing like making squally noises. I mean, I don't know if it was something boring a hole through rock. I mean, that's the only thing that I could.
I mean, that definitely goes on. If it sounds like a screw going through rock, like if you look up tunnel boring machine, they definitely have a lot of that going on, and more than most people realize.
This thing sounded like it was massive, like you could fly a plane into it, or big planes, jets. You know what I'm saying? It just sounded massive. And, if that's what it was drilling into the ground, that was the only thing, at the time, I've been kind of awake to different things my whole life, but, I couldn't, where do I put this? I didn't know where to put that in my head. So that was the only thing I could go to, is it's like something boring into the ground.
Yeah, and I'll say, when I was at the Integratron, I was staying in Landers for a couple nights at an Airbnb, and at night we were hearing these deep booms, like, sound like dumb explosions. Or there is a military base north of Landers, and so we were thinking, maybe they were testing weapons, but I mean, it was unlike anything I'd ever heard. When you hear that deep boom, you're just like,
Yep.
What the heck was that?
Yeah.
And so I think that sounds coming from in the earth generally have a different feeling, a different frequency to them than, something that travels through the air. But sometimes it is hard to know, where it's coming from.
Right. I know, that's where people are, they're pointing their phone, like they're trying to find the source of the sound. It's interesting. There was one video that I saw that 2 dogs, they were freaked out by it, but they both, walked out to the edge of the porch. You could just see their heads, and then both of their heads turned this way, and then both of their heads turned that way. And then they both simultaneously walked down and just kind of like then got confused and walked back in. And I'm like, oh my God, this dog's here, all kinds of stuff.
But are these signs of the times where our frequencies are being raised? Because now we're coming into contact with all these different signs. They talk about the veil being lifted. They talk about as we raise our vibe, we'll come in contact with other beings. It's that resonance again. It's because this is not normal noise. It's not normal sightings. It's something more than that. I think we're evolving to the higher levels and higher planes on spiritually, energetically, physically. I think there's a huge change in all of us.
I agree with that. I
Yeah.
do. Dylan, is there any other mapping project that you might be working on that you might want to let us know about?
I'm not working on any new maps at the moment. Actually, just today, I may have found an artist studio space that I'll be moving this whole operation into in Cincinnati. So that will be huge for DSMP if it happens. I mean, I don't see why it wouldn't happen unless the owner of this building looks at my website and doesn't like something he sees. But that will be huge. We've been in this, a residential home basement this whole time, and it's like we have reached a capacity here. And so if this happens, it will be a huge step forward. So I'm really excited about that. Just saw it and made the decision to hopefully get it today. And other than that, I'm not exactly sure which one I'll work on next, but I am tentatively planning to eventually create an all holistic version of the healing web. So like leaving off big pharma and just really focusing on even more of the full spectrum of different supplements and what conditions they work for, as well as all the new electromagnetic products coming online, as well as newer products such as Vini and ASEA, and giving like more references to actual different brands, like recommendations for people to use. And so that's something that I think I'll probably get that done within the year. But I have to feel it out because the maps are very draining to me. My newest one, which is actually a free download, I hope everyone knows about. I probably shouldn't say the title of this one on YouTube, but the JAB detox, which also functions as a shedder detox, and any type of, illness detox. I mean, a lot of these treatments in the 5 categories of proto-med beds, detox chelation, immune and DNA support. Let's not say that one, and physical fitness. Those are like the 5 pillars to cure probably like most things. And so it's not just for people who got this in the arm, but for all of us to hopefully stay healthy and survive until even better medbed type technology is rolled out. And so that's what I'll be working on. And it's like either I'm really focused on maps or I'm really focused on videos. And right now I'm more focused on videos and probably doing more videos explaining the different maps, because when I just put out a map and then just leave it there, don't do any follow-up on it, it's like it really goes over people's heads, and they really like to have it explained. And so I'll be doing more of that throughout part of the year, and have a couple other expos and events planned. I'll be going to Miami for the Reawakening tour in May, and hopefully Trump will make an appearance at that, Trump Doral. I'm just going as an attendee. I'm not speaking. I was not invited to speak. So what can you say about that? But whatever. I'll be glad to just experience the Reawakening tour with Clay Clark, and I'm excited to meet Charlie Ward. But we got a big year planned, and I like to just go with the flow. I just tap in every single day and feel like, what am I most passionate about working on today? And then go with that. And sometimes I'm surprised by which map comes up next. So there's not necessarily a line that they stick in that line. Sometimes it's like, just pull out this one project I've been thinking about for a few years and just knock it out real quick. And so I like to just go with the flow.
You might want to think about a stone one.
Stone map. Yeah. Some people have asked for like an extraterrestrial map. But other ideas coming down the pipe is like a Vatican map, which that's a very dark subject to focus on, but it's really fascinating to me. And holistic healing web. You never know, maybe something that's not even on the list will pop up. That's kind of how some of these things have happened. That's how the healing web itself happened. Like I had a whole bunch of other ideas in the pipeline, and then the Healing Web just came to me as a download one morning, and I sketched it out as a pencil illustration first, and it was like almost, exactly as it turned out in the end.
That's
When
awesome.
when do you anticipate that being available? The Healing Map?
The Healing Web is already available. Oh, the revised one, I have no idea. I can't say exactly when. It may be even another year before I'm inspired to make the holistic only one. But this one is already available as a free download, one of our most important free downloads. And this one has been going viral on TikTok and a lot of other platforms this year. But we also offer it as poster, a lamination. And some people have requested this as a mini poster, which is like the 11 by 17 or 13 by 19 size. And that's actually on my to-do list. I think I might like to have all the different artworks in all the different sizes for everyone, whatever their needs may be. We also have that as a tapestry as well.
Oh,
Awesome.
so do you have anything that has to do with like, I know the energy map has all different types of energies, but do you have something that possibly shows like, I don't want to say Schumann frequency, but frequencies of like hertz, megahertz, regarding healing modalities or anything like that?
No, I mean, the Schumann resonance is on the energy map.
Right.
We don't have like the booklet that comes with a what do you call those machines?
Right.
They have fun, yeah, like a Rife machine. We don't have the booklet that comes with a Rife machine to tell you which frequency to program in, but those come with most Rife machines. And so sometimes I wonder if those really work or if that's kind of a gimmick.
I don't know.
Yeah, we have to test it.
I have one that I got a cheapo one, and it's so confusing. I have no idea. I don't even want to hook it up to myself, and God only knows what I'm going to do. So I just know. I just kind of look at it and I think I'll revisit it again some other time.
Sometimes you just really wish that we had medical professionals that would do some of this investigation for us. Because as a lay person, sometimes it's like you really just want to defer it to someone who does that full time, and it's like some of us don't have time to necessarily take like a whole college study on learning a frequency machine like that and, replicating all the work of Antoine Prior and Royal Rife. So I think we'll get there within our lifetimes if we keep drinking ASEA.
Yeah, it just came to me, like maybe things that would treat a whole host of things like the ozone therapy, different types of things like that. I'm sure we can find that somewhere. I know we're over an hour, Dylan, and we don't want to take up your time, and we absolutely love having you here. Can we have you back some other time?
Oh, sure. I love coming on HVU anytime.
Come back and play.
Not every week, but anytime. Yeah.
Thank you. I get it. I get that. Is there anything that you want to wrap up with?
I had a question for Dylan with regards to just touching upon copper, going back to copper. I know you have your copper pyramid. I started structuring a copper frame around my bed to make it feel like a pyramid. And so I've had a copper pyramid for a while now, but I wanted to build a bigger one. So just wanted to kind of ask you the question about if I put that around my bed, are there any pros and cons to that? What insights can you give me on that?
So I was planning for a long time to try to put my big copper pyramid over my bed. And I did try it a month back or so when I was cleaning my room. And unfortunately, the twin size bed did not fit inside the copper pyramid. And so I had to abandon that project with it was almost in, it was just a few inches too narrow at the height of where, the mattress ended up. And so I could still potentially put my mattress on the floor in there. And I'd have to see how it would work. I would definitely think it would augment your dreams significantly. But I have heard that it may make it's too much energy to fall asleep. And so you'd have to try to feel it out. I think if you're really trying to go on some astral missions, that might be beneficial. and also for healing. So what I've actually done with my biggest copper pyramid, by the way, anyone who hasn't heard, I bought like a 6-foot high Nubian copper pyramid. It was for an expo I did last fall. It didn't come in time. And so now it's my personal pyramid that I use for meditation. And what I've been doing more recently is loading it up with orgonite. And it came with an orgonite sphere at the tip of it. But what I've done is put pyramids. I wanted to put a pyramid on all 4 corners, but I didn't have enough pyramids. And so I have put, I have them actually in the center and on 2 corners and one, kind of like making a triangle. And if I order more and they can be matching, we'll have all 4 corners, but just trying to really charge it up. And sometimes I put different like bead bracelets on the tip of it as well. So it's just like putting as much energy I can like into this one pyramid. And that's where I sit to meditate to get my downloads, which I write in my light code journal. And so I definitely do want to try eventually sleeping in it. That would require me like moving my mattress and my nightstand and my bed frame. So it's kind of like a nightmare to try to figure it out. But I think that's a worthy pursuit and I still would like to try it. And so I encourage you to experiment with that as well. But don't force it. If you're not sleeping well, I would say maybe that's not the best. But I have seen people that have a permanent pyramid over their bed like all the time. Like that's like the Sedona gurus, I haven't seen that. I always look at homes in Sedona. I haven't seen that in any like home photos, but I know that it's out there somewhere, people that sleep in the pyramid every night. And, there's supposed to be healing benefits in the pyramid as well. It's just a question of whether it be too energetic for you to really get restful sleep.
Yeah.
I have been sleeping pretty well for the past few days since I put it up. So, adding the crystals, I'll see how that makes it even more elevated. So I'll share the experiences.
Yeah, load it up with orgonite too. I mean, I think everyone should have orgonite beneath their bed.
Yeah. Beneath actually the pyramids or
any shape of orgonite really, or orgonite around their bed. Actually, I have just crystals under my bed, but I've gone through different phases,
I used to have bamboo.
All the organites in the pyramid now. I don't have infinite orgonite. I'll tell everyone my favorite orgonite brand is called Sedona Oregon Vortex, which is on Etsy. Sedona Oregon Vortex. And I met them at Alien Con, and just the energy coming off their table as a vendor was like, woo, so strong. And I find it the most beautiful orgonite as well, like aesthetically. And so I really like that brand, and not, affiliate or anything. Actually, I've been thinking about doing a collaboration with them to turn my light code symbol into an orgonite. That's kind of a project that I began and like left abandoned. But I think one day eventually, well, now that I have more storage space in this new artist studio we may be moving into, like I can pursue a lot more of these projects that will require a little more storage space. And so everything's coming together. I'm really excited for the future and all the future products and healing modalities that are coming down the pipe.
And real quick, the shape of the pyramid, what did you call that? A Nubian?
Nubian, yeah.
Now, is that like more like the Russian pyramid that's taller and more pointy?
Yes,
versus the
taller
Egyptian?
and more pointy, yeah.
Nubian.
Thank you for that. That's awesome. Do we have any questions from our wonderful High Vibes Up family on the chats?
No, but I think we're doing good.
Awesome.
Are we doing okay? Can we get a thumbs up from anybody? Are we doing okay? We know that Dylan's one of our favorite guests on the show. I know I would be like, oh yes, Dylan's on today. That's awesome. I kept telling, Candy, get him on.
Yeah.
I need to hear him.
Thank you, Dylan, for all that you've shared today. We really appreciate
Thank you so much.
I'm just happy to knock out 3 videos in one day. I think this might be a record. So
you are a rock star.
Thank you. We appreciate you and all that you do.
You're quite frankly the rock star. Oh my gosh. You know what? These do feel good. I did put them all 3 in my hand, at one after the other, and then I went and took them out in the sun. So I haven't chosen which one is, coming to bed with me tonight.
And are 2 of them gifts, or are they all for you?
It's just, oh no. Why? Did you have an idea?
No, I just wonder, sometimes when people order duplicates of things, I'm wondering, what if they're intended as gifts. Some people order duplicate of my downloads, which that is just completely unnecessary, but I don't refund them. So I'm just like, sorry. I consider it a donation. If you order duplicate downloads from DSMP, I consider it a donation.
Awesome. You know what? I always buy myself one, and then I always say, if you have one here, you got to have one there. And then there's one to give away, or, it will, when it's time to go to somebody else, I'll just feel it and went, oh yeah, that's yours. Yeah, it's not mine anymore. You just,
whenever I'm crystal shopping, there'll be certain things that I'm like, that is for this person.
Yep.
And it's funny, like with my mom, for example, I brought back all these different crystals from Tucson, laid them all out on the table. And like the one that she was like, ooh, I really like this one. That's the one I had gotten for her. And it's like, there was nothing, it was not like she likes that one type of crystal, it's not even something I bought for her before, but somehow like telepathically, like these crystals communicate with us.
I think so.
That's beautiful.
I think so. So are we good to wrap it up?
We are. Just one more thing. Do you want to mention about donations for kids treatments? Do you want to mention that, since we're talking about?
Yeah, I'll mention that again. Yes. Everyone, we're still taking donations for kid. His treatments are not covered by insurance. And we are so grateful to everyone that has given a donation. And even, if it's not monetary, giving and sending him love and light, that is still doing something. It's important. Yeah. And we love each and every one of you. And I know Kid and Candy are so grateful that the family is still getting together. They feel the energy, they're watching. And we just want to send Kid and Candy, we all love you. We're all here because of you and because of what you created, and your family is here backing you up. And we there isn't anything we wouldn't do. So between all of us, we've got an opportunity to step forth a prayer, a dollar, an idea, a thought, a wish.
Yeah.
All of it works.
Thank you. So I know my last conversation with Candy, she was saying how much she loves and values and appreciates the family that supports everybody. So we want to kind of pass that message on to everybody and say, there's a lot of love for each and every one of us here. We thank you. Let's keep growing. Let's keep supporting. Let's just keep doing what we're doing. And this is wonderful for all our growth, right? Because we need that support system for each and every one of us.
And I'll say this channel probably has the most friendly family vibe of any other channel I've seen,
Yeah.
It really feels like a community.
Yeah. And
it does.
Yeah. And we want to keep the vibes as high as possible as we all rise together. So thank you. High vibes up.
We've got a bunch of thumbs up. We're doing okay. Awesome. They're not gonna fire us this week. Dylan saved us.
Saved us. Thank you, Dylan.
Is this your guys' second show together on HVU?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
Yeah, that's great that you're
Dylan,
stepping in to fill in while Candy is preoccupied.
Right. Yeah. They're both just going through the healing journey, and that's, they want to make sure that their family stays intact and grows. And when they come back, they will take the reins, and, they'll come in and go whenever they want to, when it works for them. And Dylan, we want to thank you so much for being a part of this family. You are so appreciated, and the work that you do. I mean, look at that map behind you. That's insane. I mean, the amount of research this man does is incredible. And I invite everyone to go on his site and look at what he's got. Whether you think you're ever going to use it or not, guess what? One of these days, these maps are going to be important for you to have in your hand.
Yeah. Dylan, where can people find you?
Well, I'm not going to say the full thing, but dsmappingproject.com. And we'll have the high page link, which is my substitute link tree, in the description. And just want to remind everyone one more time that the most important ones of these, I make free downloads. And then if you want a printed version or a tapestry or other objects such as, hats, backpacks, we have the whole store there as well as paid downloads of the few artworks that are not the free downloads. So you'll find it all on the link tree. And thank you guys so much for having me. It's always good to check in with HVU and the fam. I'm glad you guys are doing well, and I'm glad that kid is healing. It is a slow process. We can't expect him to just turn it around overnight. And it's the learning process too, though. I've been through some serious healing myself, and you're going to be stronger and more spiritual on the other side.
Yeah, absolutely. And Kid and Candy's websites for their ASEA and their NUMI is still up and functioning.
It's in the link.
Satnam and myself have ours as well. And Dylan, you have yours as well, and the Zeolite. So if you're looking for that Zeolite, you definitely want to go check his site out and make sure that you visit there.
Yeah,
awesome.
Avini is the new thing. It just introduced to me since last week, and I was told that Avini and ASEA are like the combination from heaven. And I guess if you add in NutraSwish too, you just go straight to Mount Olympus and join the gods.
Yeah, baby.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you.
I'm in for it. Thank you so much, Dylan. Your time is so appreciated, and we loved having you on here. Anytime that you want to have something to say to a different audience on YouTube, you just let us know, let Candy know, and we'll make sure that you're here.
Well, thank you so much. It's always good to be here.
Real quick, when are you going to be out in the West Coast area?
I have no plan for West Coast at the moment.
Probably smart.
But I am always looking at houses in Joshua Tree and in Sedona and Cottonwood and in
we'll need to talk.
And in St. George as well. I'm just waiting for the right time to pull the trigger, because I believe the housing market's going to crash.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to buy a house at the peak of the housing market. And so I'm biding my time. I'm saving. Actually, part of the reason why I bought this artist studio is so that I have my assistant helping with shipping, and he can run things while I go out of town, so that he's not coming in this house. My mom lives here too, and so it's weird if he comes when I'm not home. And so now that we have a separate space, I can potentially go on longer, out of town trips. And so just, I feel like it's all coming together. If I get this artist studio space, I'm going to be in heaven.
You got it.
Hopefully, unless the building burns down.
I hope you get it. And if you don't, make sure you give me a call, because I've got a backup for you.
All right. Sounds good. Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
I love everybody so much.
Yes. And we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye,
See you next
HVU
Wednesday.
fam.
Yes. Take care. Bye.